reasons why you shouldn't travel. Right, you did hear me. Reasons why you should not travel. There is no shortage of content telling you why you should travel. Travel makes you interesting, it expands your perspective. Travel can heal you. Travel changes your life. And honestly, sometimes that is true. But travel can be expansive. It can introduce you to new rhythms, new ways of seeing things, new versions of yourself. It can soften rigid thinking and remind you that there is more than one way to live a good life. But travel isn't automatically good. In recent years, travel has quietly become a kind of cultural prescription, something you're supposed to want, something you're supposed to prioritize, something that signals growth, success, or enlightenment. Not traveling can start to feel like a personal failure or a lack of ambition or a sign that you're stuck, which none of that is true. But this video rather, isn't about discouraging travel. It's just about telling the truth. Because sometimes travel brings clarity, and sometimes it becomes avoidance dressed up as self discovery. There are reasons why you should not travel, and acknowledging them doesn't make you small, it just makes you honest. So let's get into it. When travel becomes a stand in for self reflection, you should not travel if you're hoping it will fix something you have not named yet. If there is just something off in your life, magically you skipping off to Rome is not going to fix this unknown problem of yours. A change of scenery can be very powerful. New environments can wake up parts of you that felt dormant. They can remind you of your curiosity, your adaptability, your aliveness. Yes, absolutely. But travel does not resolve unspoken questions. If there's a quiet discomfort that you keep sidestepping about your work, your relationships, your sense of direction, travel may delay the reckoning that you need, but it won't replace it. You can hike mountains, wander foreign streets, sit in beautiful cafes, and feel unsettled when the external stimulation fades. Because the conversation you've been postponing doesn't disappear when you cross a border. It just waits for a quieter moment. Travel can highlight what's missing, but not heal it. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stay still long enough to listen to what's asking for your attention. Um, this also, as I'm going through this discovery of me trying to live abroad part time, that is something that has come up in the different groups I'm a part of, where they're like, if you have mental illness or there's something unresolved in your home country, stay there and get that taken care of before you take that baggage with you to the new country you're going to. Because again, travel doesn't magically make those things go away. If you have clinical depression and you don't get it diagnosed or figured out in your home country, being depressed in a whole new country where you're having culture shock and you're feeling homesick, it can make your experience so much worse. And um, again, I just feel like traveling will not make those things magically disappear. They will definitely highlight it more. Another reason why you shouldn't travel, burnout doesn't disappear in a new time zone. There's a popular belief that travel is a cure for burnout. Take a break, get away, change your environment. But burnout lives in the body, not the calendar. If you're deeply exhausted, emotionally depleted, or carrying unprocessed stress, travel can actually amplify that state. Long days, unfamiliar routines, decision fatigue, navigating logistics. Have you ever had severe jet lag and you had to try and navigate a new railway system or train system that's in a foreign language? The stress, absolute stress. But, and just think about the constant stimulation. It can be absolutely draining when your nervous system is already overloaded. You don't suddenly become rested because you boarded a plane. You're just tired somewhere else. That doesn't mean travel cannot never be restorative though. So don't misconstrue that. But when the exhaustion runs deep into the bones, what your body often needs first is predictability, safety, and rest, not novelty. Sometimes healing looks like staying home, going to bed early, moving slowly, and rebuilding capacity before you try to expand it. Or even just traveling domestically, because there is something to be said. I love when I find out about a new hotel in the area, or just, a hotel that's just new to me and everyone is raving about it. I love going to a hotel maybe 30 minutes away from my house and spending a weekend there just to get a new scenery and just to refresh. So Again, travel isn't a no-go, but just maybe travel domestically or close to home. Another reason why you shouldn't travel is traveling out of comparison instead of curiosity. You're doing it for the wrong reasons, basically. You shouldn't travel if the real motivation is feeling behind. This is a big one. Social media has just turned travel into this whole song, dance, and performance. Experiences become proof, destinations become milestones, trips become a way of demonstrating that you're doing life correctly. When travel is driven by comparison instead of curiosity, it carries pressure rather than joy. You're not really there. You're measuring yourself against some imagined standard. You're wondering if you're doing and seeing the right things, documenting enough, maximizing the moment properly. Instead of presence, there's self surveillance, basically. New scenery doesn't cancel old expectations, it often magnifies them. Travel should be from genuine desire, not quiet insecurity. If you're booking a trip to keep up rather than just to slow down or just because you're curious about a location, it's worth really asking, who is the trip for? Is it for you or is it for the masses? Something to consider. Another reason why you shouldn't travel, the emotional weight of financially stressful travel. You should not travel if it means stretching yourself thin to do it. Travel should not come with quiet panic or credit card guilt for that matter, or the background anxiety of knowing this experience is costing more than what you can comfortably absorb. I always think of that meme. I think, I will never financially recover from this. If you are saying that when you're booking a trip, don't book the trip. Wait, or try and book it a couple of years out so you can make payments on it. That's what I do with many of my travels. I try and plan as far out as I can and make payments along the way, but it should not come with stress financially. There is nothing liberating about enjoying a moment while mentally calculating how long it will take to recover from it financially. Seriously, freedom does not live does not feel like your mind is just stressing, thinking about, okay, as soon as I get home, I'm going to have to work this hard to try and pay off this trip. It's just not worth it. It truly isn't. This doesn't mean, again, travel must be expensive or perfectly planned, but it does mean it should be aligned to your reality, not in conflict with it. A trip that leaves you financially stressed can just erode the very sense of ease it's supposed to provide. If you're worried about the trip, you're not going to really enjoy the trip that you're paying for, and it's a vicious cycle where pick another time, pick another place. It's just not worth it. Sometimes the most self-respecting decision is just to wait or to choose something smaller or to invest in stability instead of escape. Real talk. Another reason why you shouldn't travel, you can't outrun stillness. And what this means is you shouldn't travel if you're running away from stillness because stillness still follows you. It shows up in hotel rooms after long stays, in early mornings before the city wakes up, on trains, buses, and planes, and quiet walks back to where you're staying. If being alone with your thoughts feels unbearable at home, it will feel much louder somewhere else. Travel often strips away distractions. Once the novelty fades, there's space, and that space can feel very uncomfortable if you're avoiding something within yourself. This isn't a reason to fear travel, it's just a reason to be honest about readiness. Sometimes stillness is asking for attention before movement makes sense. You have to be comfortable within your own self. Again, having those difficult conversations with yourself, knowing that, there's so many books that, again, romanticize travel, like, okay, I'm going to take 3 months off and just explore the world and find myself. And it's like, find yourself at home is cheaper, and then you can go enjoy the fruits of your labor after finding yourself for 3 months. It's just, you don't want to have, I won't say out depending on your situation, you're not gonna have a mental break. You don't want to have a mental breakdown, is what I'm saying, in another country that's foreign to you. At least you're home, you're with your support system, you know the systems in place, health systems that you can have access to. It's just so much easier to do that. Again, I've been on so many forums where I see people trying to use travel as an escape, and it just normally does not work out well for them. Sometimes they thug it out and they make it happen and it works out in the end, but then they'll come back onto the forum and say, hey, if you can figure that out at home, Do that at home. Do your self-discovery at home and then go and travel. And so another reason why you shouldn't travel is when responsibilities actually matter. You shouldn't travel if you're ignoring responsibilities that truly need your presence. Not everything is meant to be postponed. Not every season is about escape. There are moments in life when staying grounded emotionally, practically, relationally is more important than chasing expansion. Caregiving, recovery, rebuilding, stabilizing, committing, these phases often ask for continuity rather than disruption. Growth isn't always movement. Sometimes it's just maintenance. Sometimes it's staying long enough to finish what you started. Choosing not to travel doesn't mean you're stuck. It just means you're rooted. And there are some things that, again, cannot be put off. It just really goes back to depending on where you are in life. Sometimes it's just best to deal with the situation. Especially caregiving is one of those things where it's a touchy subject because especially with caregiving, you don't know the timeline. You're subjected to the other person that you're caring for timeline, but really taking note on what needs to be taken care of at home. So that way, again, when you're traveling, you're able to enjoy it. Not that you're shirking your responsibility, but what's the point of going into an exotic location and you're still worried about things at home? You're not really disconnecting and enjoying the place you're at. So that's the only reason why I really bring that one up. And I would say the last reason why you should not travel is if traveling isn't actually your desire. You would think that would make sense, but again, there's some people who are just traveling just to say that they're doing something. Um, it's they're doing it because it's trendy, because everyone else is doing it, and it feels like you're supposed to. And but desire really matters. If you are not a traveling person, not to put my brother's business out there. My brother, he likes to travel, but he's that type, like after 2 or 3 days, he wants to come back home. He is typically like a homebody, and that's great. I know I will not take my boy to Southeast Asia for 3 weeks. I know that's not his type of trip. So knowing who you are as a person, if you do not care about traveling, don't force yourself to put on this image like, oh, I've made it, I've arrived, I'm traveling, I'm doing this and that. I've made it in life. Travel should feel like a yes in your body, not a push. There should be curiosity, no obligation. When travel becomes something you feel pressured into, it loses its meaning. It's supposed to be rewarding. It's supposed to be expansive. You're allowed to build a meaningful life, and it doesn't have to be all over the place. It can just be where you're rooted, and that is absolutely okay. Not everyone is called to wander. Not every season requires movement. Um, so that being said, that's all I have for you. Travel can be beautiful, transformative, and expanding, but it isn't a requirement for a meaningful life. It truly it isn't. It's nice to have. It's great to see, um, but it's not for everyone, and that is fine. Sometimes the most radical choice is staying put long enough to build something that fits you, something that's steady, nourishing, and real. And sometimes the deepest growth really honestly happens quietly without a passport stamp to prove it. Let's be real. And choosing that path, it doesn't make you less interesting. It makes you more intentional. So that's all I have. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. My name is Moni, and I am creating videos for those looking to redesign a life that fits their aspirations. Topics range from a wide variety of things: entrepreneurship, nonprofit management, working a 9 to 5, traveling, dating, and everything in between. I've developed playlists now, so if there's a particular topic that you're interested in, check it out on my channel page. Other than that, if you enjoy this type of content, please like, share, and subscribe. I make videos every day, so I will be talking to you tomorrow. Bye.